Hello, and welcome to Team Dolphath's submission for the very first ConSim Game Jam. This game is called In the Shadows, French Resistance from 1943 to 1944. It is a game designed by Dan Bullock, Chris Bennett with 2 T's, and Joe Schmidt. Our inspiration for this game was the excellent Falling Sky by Volko and Andrew Runke, one of the GMT coin games. And in looking at this map, we thought it was a great opportunity to tell the story of the fight between the resistance and the occupation during the time period right before the D-Day invasions. As you can see on the map, the additions that we've made are heavily focused on zones. One of the things we noticed in our research was a map of different resistance cells throughout France during the resistance, and we found it matched pretty closely to the existing map for Falling Sky. So on this you have 3 different suits or symbols and 4 different districts. You have 2 that use the Cross of Lorraine, which represent resistance areas. You have the axe in blue for the Vichy areas, and then the black areas represent German influence and German areas. The way that we broke this game down is into 18 cards, and with those 18 cards, if you could pull one of them up, Dan. They're the main drivers for the game. So if you look on this card here, the card has an action and then a symbol matching the suits on the board, and then a number. The number is for the number of actions. The bar is either black or red for the title, which determines the side that uses the event. In this case, black is occupation and red is for resistance. But the suit is what we'll focus on here. So when you spend those 5 action points and the variety of actions you have, you will need to spend them within specific regions that match your suit. If you choose to take an action that is not within one of those regions, you will have to pay a penalty of 1 action point. So therefore, the cards you play and the way you play them kind of help drive and determine the way you'll play the game and the way that you use your action points. If we could look quickly at the card, the play rate.
Sure.
Thanks. So if you see on these play rate, here are the different actions that you can spend your points on. For the resistance, we have 2 moves. All of the moves in this game have no suit cost. So that means that you can use any card to move with no penalty. But for the resistance, for ambush, sabotage, and propaganda actions, which is ambush allows you to push an occupying either German or a Vichy unit out of the location that you're in. Sabotage, which allows you to move the Unrest Track, the opinion track, and then propaganda, which allows you to gain more units and possibly move the opinion track as well. Those all require a matching suit. So if you, in the case of the card that we showed earlier, because it had the cross on it, you would need to be in one of those areas or else pay the 1 penalty action point in order to use it. For the occupation, the actions we have are moving, which once again has no cost, and then uncover, create, arrest, and reprisal. Create informant, arrest, and reprisal. Now the key for the occupation here is that they want to arrest tokens, but before they arrest those tokens, they must be uncovered. So you'll use the uncovered action, and then you'll arrest. The other actions that you have here give you the opportunity to look into the strategy of how you're going to find and capture the members of the resistance. All right, thanks, Dan. If we could zoom in on the opinion and the Unrest Track, please.
Sure.
I'll go into the tokens in a moment, but for now I really wanted to focus on this area of the map, and this was one of the big drivers in the design. So the goal of the game for the resistance player is to move all the way to the left to resistance win. The way that they do that is by moving the opinion track. The opinion track moves based on sabotage or propaganda moves, and this represents the swaying of opinion throughout different locations and districts of France. If you are able to move the token over at least 3 during the course of your turn, you will have gained 1 move left. But if you're able to go all out and move the token all the way to the end, you'll be able to move that Unrest Track over 2 in your direction. For the occupation player, their goal is to arrest tokens. For every token they arrest, they get closer to their goal of moving over to the occupy win space. The yellow tokens represent maquisards, and they earn 1 move over to the right at the end of a turn. The red or resistance tokens require 2 to be captured in order to move the Unrest Track over 1. Right now, and then for the other tokens we have, if we could zoom out, for the resistance, we have the black German informants, which are created out of red resistance tokens. We have the black German tokens, and then we have the black Vichy tokens. One key thing here in regards to the resistance is that we wanted to facilitate the existing component and the use of the 2 sides. So all of these tokens that you see here have 2 sides, covert and uncovered. A token can only be arrested when it is uncovered. So the goal of the occupation player is to get to the resistance tokens, uncover them, and then arrest them. Now we can go into some of the card play. If we could zoom out.
Sure.
And let's just, if Chris and Dan, if you could both play a card, just so we can see, and we can go over a little of how turns work. And we'll zoom into those cards. All right, great. So Chris has played a 7 with a cross, and Dan has played a 5 with a cross. The way that initiative is determined is by the highest number played. So in this case, Chris has played a 7. He has initiative, which means he can determine who goes first or second. Once that's determined, the first thing you'll do is play the event on the card. The event, as I had said before, you can tell by the color, either black for occupation or red for resistance. And they will play out that action in full. Once they have done that, they will then be able to spend their action points. After that, it goes to the second player. That player still plays out the action that's on the event that's on the top of their card. So that in this case, the occupation player would get 2 events in this turn, and then they would take their 5 actions. At the end of this turn, you would look and determine if the Unrest Track needed to be moved. You would clear any cards or leave cards in the active or outgoing event spaces to determine the future effects going forward. And that's the game. One of the nice things about this game is that all 18 cards, unless a game is won early, will be played during the game. So every player gets to play all of the events they have, which was one of the key things we looked at for the balance of this game, considering the time frame we had. In general, I am very proud of this game. It's been awesome working with Dan and Chris. I think we've been able to create a really tight and exciting model for the French resistance over a very short period of time. We're exhausted, but very proud, and we hope you enjoy the game. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks.